This watch costs $35. That's €32 or £28. And that's outside of any sale, prior to any discounts being included. That's the cost of international shipping, and it houses a Japanese Miyota movement. Is it any good? It's a Berny, of course it is. I bought this watch during the last AliExpress sale. I actually bought 5 watches during that sale, and I'm in the process of reviewing them now. I got a small discount off this watch, so it went from $35 down to just under $33, but then they added a little bit of tax onto that. Free shipping, free international shipping, which still blows my mind. So I ended up paying just over $34 for this watch, and I bought it for 2 main reasons. The main reason really being just the price, but also the way it looks. I actually think it's a really good looking watch. It reminds me a little bit of a Grand Seiko that I bought a little while ago from Chrono24, I think it is, or I think it was. It was a bit beaten up. I ended up giving that watch away, but it was a sort of, well, baller's beta watch, that Grand Seiko. I just thought it was a pretty cool looking watch. It was battered to death, but it still worked really, really well. And I just thought it would be a pretty cool sort of dressier beta. And this reminds me of that in terms of how it looks a little bit. And I just think this would also be a pretty cool sort of dressier beta watch. The strap isn't fantastic, but it is branded, look. The buckle is branded as well. It says genuine leather. I suspect that's just this little bit underneath. But quick release spring bars. The strap's not great, but it's better than some straps that come on AliExpress watches that cost a lot more than this. Now, is the case stainless steel? I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to take the case back off and have a good look at the movement, and I might be able to tell. There is some brushing on it, but you can actually plate some brushed cases. So some cases that have brushing on them will still be plated. So that's not always the best way to identify whether or not a case is stainless steel or whether or not it's been plated. But it does look to be fairly nicely finished. I mean, if I was to hazard a guess, I'd say it was stainless steel. It certainly won't be sapphire crystal. But you do have applied indices, and they look pretty good. They look nice and bright. There's also a little bit of detail to the dial. The second hand is hitting the markers, which is just staggering. If they've made all of these watches where the second hand hits the marker or markers most of the time, and I say most of the time, gravity does tend to impact watches like this with sort of cheap quartz movements inside them, and sometimes the seconds hands can sag a little bit. But yeah, if they've managed to get the seconds hands added to these watches fairly accurately like this, I think it's a bit of a winner. There's nothing worse than having a quartz watch with a second hand that misses all the markers. So that's quite a big thing for me. And I'm pleasantly surprised to say it looks to be hitting most of the markers. It's a little bit loose on the way up and a little bit loose on the way down. But yeah, I am impressed. And just look at it. I really do think this is a good looking watch. On the whole, the proportions are pretty good. The lugs are fairly well proportioned to the case. The bezel's well proportioned to the size of the case. The crown doesn't look too big or too small. I think the hands perhaps a touch too short. I think that hour hand should be kissing the inside of those markers, and maybe the hour hand and the seconds hands pushing out to the edge of the markers, maybe even to that chapter ring, which has some numbers on it, look, and there is some detail on the dial, some concentric circles, which I think is a really nice touch. And I just love white dialed watches at the moment. I think the dial contrasts nicely with the black strap and the steel case. Yeah, a bit of polishing, a bit of brushing, and I think they've just created a very nice, very affordable watch. Now for $35, I think we can all expect a few weaker specifications like 30 meters of water resistance, which basically means it's splash proof. The case back is a snap-on case back. It's not a screw down case back. It is a quartz watch, of course. You're not going to get an automatic in a watch, even from Berny, for $35 out of the sale. I think they sell their automatic railway-inspired watch sometimes during the sale for as low as sort of $35, $40. But yeah, out of the sale, $35. Of course, it's going to be quartz, but it is a Miyota quartz movement, one that they have been making since 1981, so you would expect it to be pretty reliable if they've been making this movement for over 40 years. I suspect it's fairly well tried and tested. Right, no looms, so it's time to pop it on the wrist, and I'm also going to put it on some alternative straps, and I think it's going to look pretty good on some alternative straps. Yeah, let's have a look. Here it is on the supplied strap. It sits fairly flat to the wrist, look, because you've got a fairly thin quartz movement inside it. And yeah, it looks all right, doesn't it? Decent size, fairly average sized watch. And yeah, it's comfortable enough. It's not a great strap. Let's put it on another strap and have a look, shall we? And here it is on the Vario Italian leather strap. That combination of a sort of light silvery white dialed, fairly dressy watch like this and a red leather strap. I really like it. I think they go fantastically well together. I think this strap costs almost, if not more, than the watch. But actually, I think they go really, really well together. So yeah, love red and white together. Looks pretty cool. Here it is on a gorgeous collareb strap. Really nice straps, these. Again, probably costs twice the price of the watch, actually, but just brings this watch up to a completely different level. Yeah, love it. Love it. Here it is on another premium collareb strap. I think this one probably looks even better, actually. The sort of white dial contrasting with that black leather strap, some contrasting stitching on the strap as well. I think I could probably go through all of my straps and it would work with maybe 90% of them. I'm just going to keep going. Here it is on another Vario strap, this time an orange silicone strap. Yeah, I think that works. Blue Italian leather strap by Vario. Yeah, that looks pretty good as well. Honestly, I really do think any strap will work with this watch. A sailcloth strap by Zulu Diver. Yeah, that works pretty well as well, doesn't it? And the combination of polished and brushed surfaces on the case means a wide variety of steel buckles will work with it as well. Look, this one is brushed and it goes with the watch because you've got brushing on top of the lugs. Okay, I think I've made my point. It is a bit of a strap monster, isn't it? And a very, very good looking and super affordable strap monster as well. Now, unfortunately, they've put the Berny branding on it this time. This is a fairly new release, actually, according to the official store on AliExpress. And I thought with their new watches, they would just put in their logo on them. But on this one, they've put Berny on the dial. It's not great branding, unfortunately. But for $35, a super affordable beta watch, I think we can probably look past the Berny name. Let me know, guys, what you think of this watch in the comments section. I think this one could be a pretty popular one, despite it being a quartz. At least it's a Miyota quartz.